Gone are the days of just advertising your machines in a printed trade publication. Investments in digital marketing and communications tools have been taking hold in the evolving manufacturing sector. Welcome to the Adlibber podcast, featuring conversations of influence, some of it planned, much of it ad-libbed.
Welcome back to the Adlibber podcast, where we discuss digital marketing and brand strategy topics and have conversations with influential people. I'm your host, Jay Scott, Account Director on the Public Relations team at Gavin. Today we're talking marketing and communications and manufacturing. Joining me today is Travis Gentzler, President of Weldon Solutions, an employee-owned CNC grinder and robotic industrial automation manufacturer. Welcome to the Adlibber, Travis.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's jump into it. Marketing and PR not top of mind for a lot of manufacturers historically. The spend was more traditional on ads, right? And how has marketing and communications, I guess, evolved for you and what you've seen in your time in the industry?
I started in the industry back in 1996, coming out of public accounting, move over to manufacturing, and we had a marketing person, and her job at the time was a lot of ads, getting ads placed in the different magazines, as well as literature. Everything was big on literature. You had to have handouts. There was, internet wasn't really the biggest thing. I can remember when we first got our first web address, and it was like, oh gosh, what are we going to do with this? But it's definitely evolved from that, where it was, your advertising was through Thomas Registry, now Thomas Net. That was it. And you had distributors who went out in the field for you, and they were your word of mouth, handing out your literature and talking about it. And as you progress through, and the internet wasn't really as prevalent, in the late 90s and early 2000s. So, you didn't have the resources that you do now. I mean, now it's, we're reaching down into, different markets and target marketing. Hey, we're looking for this executive level person for a car auto manufacturer parts. And they, you reach down and you can find those people. Before it was kind of like, all right, let's blanket this out to a car magazine for people that are in the automotive industry, second, third tier. And you hope that person subscribes to that magazine and sees your ad. Whereas now it's so much more direct targeted towards, wherever you want it to go.
Yeah, the website was more like a phone book, right? I mean, you set it up, put your information there, so people, if they did use the internet or they were searching stuff out in the early days, they would come across your site much like they would if they're looking through the phone book, looking
right.
for a provider in this area so they could reach out to you. It wasn't set up the way it is now. Like you're talking about the evolution and the, in-depth nature of many websites. It's, the more sophisticated target customers are actually going to those sites looking for very specific content on a different machine or type of solution that you offer and kind of engaging with you a little bit differently. Back then, you had to rely on that broader approach, right?
Very different. Yeah. Back then, you think about it, we didn't have Google AdWords. It was organic clicks. And, if you searched on what we were Weldon Machine Tool at first, till we changed our name and rebranded, we may come up on the third or fourth page. Or now we have certain, you have your keywords, you have much more sophisticated ways to get to the top of the list so that people can find you. Back there it was hit and miss. And then basically once they got there, it was a digital brochure. There really wasn't a lot of content. There was, more descriptions of things rather than, we certainly didn't see a lot of video because with the bandwidth that we had on the internet, that wasn't feasible, and the quality wasn't there. So that you had a lot more pictures and click throughs. But it's so much different now. Where some people's entire web pages are nothing but videos and what they do and their testimonials, and we had that before, but it was all let's copy this and just put a PDF up on and you can look at it. So it's evolved in a good way, I think.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of it's about brand awareness and engagement, and obviously what you guys do in terms of grinders and robotic automation solutions, especially right. The latter. I mean, you think about how that is, taken hold within the sector. A big part of what you're doing with the marketing and the PR focus is on, educating people on obviously the brand, but more importantly, how it can benefit those industrial customers that you have, right?
Right. You're not just advertising yourself, but you're putting out educational pieces. You know, it looks like it's just, you know, videos for customers but it's really marketing. You know, you're getting yourself out there in front of customers as many times as you can, or potential customers. And it's your ability to be able to show off what you do. You know, our videos are really the only way for us to market out to certain industries where they can see, hey, let me Google search who does, you know, palletizing automation projects. And it may end up coming to our YouTube channel. And then they can actually see the type of things we've done. And you know, a lot of times they run across something and go, that's we had no idea what we wanted to do until we saw this video. And now let's call Weldon because they've done something like this. And it would be, you know, we know that they've done it, that it's possible to do.
Correct. You have to demonstrate capabilities, right? I mean,
Right.
A lot of that is visual. You know, most of what we do is a visual element. I mean, there's copy involved in a lot of it from a marketing and communication side, but that way to kind of explain it has to be told through pictures, through video, through the website. You know, there's a lot of different platforms that you're utilizing that you weren't, you know, 20 years ago, certainly.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So, I mean, what do you think's been the impact of a lot of that? Like, how's business grown or how has business evolved because of the initiatives that you've put into place in recent years?
Well, what we've seen is definitely an influx of newer customers. You know, it definitely has a reach into the marketplace. You know, before, you know, like again, when I started in this industry, you know, we relied on repeat business. It was those customers coming back, and it's not really the best way to try to grow organically. And now that we can reach some of these customers, you know, we're getting a broad reach out to, you know, different industries and showing, you know, especially on the automation side, the grinder side of our business kind of has a customer base of this is what they're going to do. This is the niche that we fill for those customers, where automation is really kind of open notebook type of thing, where we're starting with blank sheet of paper for people and going out there and doing that. So much different than what we've done in the past with, you know, we've got a lot of newer customers where, you know, our base of customers is growing now. That has a lot to do with marketing and the initiatives that we've put in place.
Yeah, the world's your oyster on the robotic side, right? I mean, it's a clear, you're coming in with looking for a custom solution, trying to, you know, kind of fit something in, and how do I go about doing that? I got to find the people that can help me, and the only way to do that is really, you know, you're searching them out on the internet, you're looking for content that folks are producing, you know, to kind of demonstrate the capabilities, and they find Weldon in some way or another. And maybe it still has an element of traditional like referral too, right? They see what others have done. You know, they contact them and kind of get a little bit of feedback. How did this work out for you? What's Weldon like to work with? But more importantly, they're going to go and seek out other content that you're creating. And you guys are creating a lot of it. There's certainly a fair amount on your website. There's a lot of videos, as you mentioned, that demonstrate this stuff. And then you're also taking a lot of that and you're taking it on the road, right? I mean, there's trade shows, there's elements like that.
Yeah, we've been using the clips that we do for all of our website videos, and we've been turning those into promotional videos to take to trade shows. You know, it's one of those things where, again, it's small snippets of a lot of projects as you go through, and the customers can come up and see it.
And it's having an impact in terms of you're expanding your facilities. Obviously, recruiting and retention plays a role in all of this as you continue to attract new customers. Can you talk about that? I know you're pretty close to rolling out the completed building you have over here in York.
The gift that keeps on giving. We just we're hoping to get it done here soon, but it's a little delayed. But yeah, we've basically gotten to the point where our growth has started to really kind of take its progress, and we're moving along. And the thing that's really happening for us is grinders take up a certain amount of space in our building. We can fit them in, you know, this section of the building easily. The automation has become its own animal, and really we needed space to set up projects because we like to prove everything out in-house before we deliver to the customer. So when we get into the customer, we're not wasting their time or ours by having to figure out why this thing isn't working. So we are adding on 21,000 square feet to our building. We were at 40,000 before. And most of that's in the shop. So we need that space at this point with our growth to be able to do the projects and continue to grow.
Yeah.
And with that comes, new staff. We have a need for a couple positions right now. And, I think in the next 6 months, we'll be, going through the next wave of what we would need for new employees. So it's definitely a good time for us. We're excited. It's frustrating at times doing construction, but it's definitely, it'll be worth it in the long run.
Is that a challenge as far as, being in the manufacturing sector? You're adding on, you have this nice new, showpiece, you'll have it as far as the facility goes, but to like appeal to, a next gen, younger audience, get those folks to want to go the route that you want, people to go moving forward, which, benefits you as a company is hiring, that talent. Is that a challenge? And how do you, how do you communicate that to those folks looking at this as a career opportunity?
Yeah. The younger generation that's coming in now is much more fickle than us older folks that have come into the business. We just wanted a good job, and they're looking for a lot more. So I think, with us being able to say that we're expanding kind of clicks a few of their buttons as far as, hey, I want to be with a company that's progressive, that's definitely coming along and growing, and I want to be on the right ship as we go through. So, that side of it definitely appeals to, our new hires. The other side of that is just the type of work we're doing, in technology, which I think attracts a lot of the younger generation with the robotics, even with grinding. I mean, it's so much different and computerized now that I think people are more interested in that type of field. So it helps us. Of course, everyone's having difficulty finding employees right now, as we are as well. But we're hoping that the addition kind of helps us and our growth helps us. It's great to be able to say to someone, hey, listen, we've made money for the last so many years. We haven't lost anything. We're definitely doing the right things. And it helps them feel comfortable when they're choosing an employer that, hey, this company's going to be around.
And that experience and that longevity plays a role, doesn't it? I mean, you guys have been, it's not like you started robotic automation yesterday. You've been doing this for a while. The company's been around a long time. Certainly, an employee-owned company with a lot of folks that have been there decades. So how do you use that to your advantage in terms of your marketing and communication? Just, that we have the experience and the skill set and we're growing.
Right. Yeah, I think definitely, for the automation side, again, the experience there is key. There's a lot of startup automation companies that just don't have the technology or the experience to do the type of jobs that we're doing at this point. Now they'll get there just like we did. I mean, when we started in early 2000s, really when we started focusing on automation more, we weren't there either. We were loading and unloading machines, and now we're putting conveyors and automation into freezers to do packaging and palletizing. Nothing to do with the grinder business that we used to do. So I just think that side really kind of brings the employees along and keeps them interested.
Where do you see it going? I mean, you mentioned that it kind of, you're touching different parts of the industrial space that maybe you didn't before. Or there's certainly other applications that grinders and the automation solutions can apply to. But like, where do you see that going in terms of, your industry reach? Like how diversified is it becoming in terms of how robotic automation is influencing what they do?
Yeah, I think it's really spreading across all avenues of different types of jobs. Before it was kind of all in manufacturing settings, and now you've got manufacturing settings automating. You've got medical facilities that are packaging drugs into sealed bags, for individual use. Everyone's looking to automate anything they can where it's repetitive, and they may have turnover for those people in those jobs, and they're just looking to be more efficient and effective. We get at times some interesting proposals for quotes. We've had something as cool as like a donut shop. They were like, hey, listen, we want to get this person out of this job, but we want to put these donuts in the fryer and we want to automate it. Okay, let's take a look at it. We were never getting those type of customers in the past, but now people are thinking outside the box, like, what can I automate? And if I can't find people to do it, I need to do it somehow. So they're taking a look, whether it works or not. Some of it's pie in the sky. We'll look at it and go, yeah, talk to us in about 10 years. We might be able to do something like that.
Right. But it doesn't necessarily mean that those facilities are downsizing. They're putting
No.
people in different roles, and you obviously do a lot with collaborative robots and other things that
Right.
still have a human element to them. We're not talking this robot is replacing every job. It's kind of augmenting some of the things that others are doing, or their roles are morphing. Correct?
Yeah, that's a good point. We've definitely dealt with the stigma of hey, robots are out here replacing humans, and they're going to take over the world. And I think now, especially after COVID, I think it's really proven to a lot of people that we've got a worker shortage, and the only way to get around that is to find a way to do it without people. So I think most of our customers, when they're automating, most of the times we don't see that the project that we're working on is going to reduce jobs. They are taking jobs that they had high turnover in, or can't find someone that wants to do it because of whatever it is. It might be dangerous, or just repetitive. And if the employee that was doing it is a good worker, they're going to find another place for them in the facility, because they're already short. So it gives a chance for some of those people on the entry level jobs to move up and have a more fulfilling job, while automation's taking over things that people just don't want to do.
Well, what advice would you give to other manufacturers on sort of taking a risk, I guess, a little more investment in marketing or communications to kind of boost their biz dev efforts? I mean, you're certainly doing it, and you've been involved with the Manufacturers Association and other groups. They're seeing, the results. You're seeing growth. You're expanding because you have a lot of demand for what you do as a company. What advice do you have for other manufacturers, or what are they asking you about that is working for you?
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that we were very hesitant to jump out there and we always said throw money at marketing. But now we've got a lot more planned approach, and it definitely is working for us, that we're reaching people. And I think that you just have to take that step of, hey, if I want to get to the next level, you need to look ahead and sit down and talk to a Gavin and see what they're able to do. I mean, it doesn't hurt to talk and you just get an idea, because I think that's where we started. I had Rick Holberg in and just said, hey, give me an idea of what's out there that we could do. And I gave him some ideas. Like, we would definitely want to be more internet approach. We definitely wanted to do more searching, trying to find people in target market. So, if you think that you're just blanketing a market by doing advertising, it's not a blanket anymore. It's more of a direct approach. You can really pick where you want those ads to go and narrow it down so that you are getting, maybe it doesn't do anything for you, but you are reaching the people you want to reach. And I think, that's where you just have to kind of give it a go and try something. I think that's what we did. It just came down to, all right, we need to do something here. We're just, because we all, as soon as things are good, everybody pulls back on marketing. Like, all right, let's pull back. We don't need to spend. We could do that right now. Our backlog is extremely busy, and it's just, we've learned that we need to keep our foot on the pedal and keep going forward.
A lot of it's about consistency. I mean, there's a tendency to want to do that. When it's good, okay, we can throttle down. Even when it's bad, okay, we're going to throttle down because we don't want to spend the money. We got to conserve our resources. But consistency and kind of getting into that rhythm. I mean, we talk about it on the public relations side, that cadence of coverage. You want to see that happen throughout the course of the year. Same with the digital marketing efforts and other things. It's hard to turn it off and turn it on. You kind of adjust certain things that are working more effectively, turn some other things down, but don't turn it off, right? I mean, keep a kind of a rhythm to it. Have a plan. It all starts with a plan. I mean, you guys experimented, kind of figure out what works for you, and then you pour some gas on it, like most people might. And now you kind of see what that backlog looks like. But if you suddenly throttle down, you probably, maybe you have some concerns about where are we going to be in 2023 or 2024. We don't know, but let's keep those leads coming in. And a lot of that starts with, putting yourself out there, the owned content, right? The earned media, some of the paid stuff that you're trying to do. Kind of, you have your hand in all of those things, because all those things collectively can have an impact on your business development efforts, right?
Right. We're basically looking out at different approaches and trying to get to those customers that we haven't. And, I think we're able to see, in the future wise, what's busy now and what we're good at. And I think, we're now marketing to companies in certain industries. I know specifically on the grinder side that has really taken off for us. It's been kind of a niche lately. And so we're dealing with 5 or 6 companies in that industry. Well, now we're looking to reach out to more of them because, if we've got that niche, then we need to stay in front of people. And I think that's the big thing, if you take your foot off the gas, your ads disappear and your competitors start to pop up. And, people, they search today. They don't search and save and remember you forever. Especially if they're a newer customer, or a potential customer, they're definitely out there searching today for a project that they're working on. So if you took the time off, at that point in time, say, I'm not going to do any marketing right now, you missed that potential customer.
It's a good point. You make a lot of good points here today, talking about how manufacturing is evolving, how marketing and communications is impacting, your business. And we certainly want to thank you for coming on the Adlibber to talk about that and share your insights.
Yeah, absolutely. I was glad to be here, and this was pretty fun.
Thank you for listening to the Adlibber podcast. To find new episodes and get more content from our team here at Gavin, make sure to visit our website at adlibberpodcast.com. The Adlibber is also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.